Hello, I'm Kent Mitchell, and I want to welcome you to the Remembrance of Lisa Michael YouTube channel. I initially created this channel, or had the idea of creating this channel, primarily just to share with you the cremation ceremony video that I had created. With COVID and the restrictions we've had, and just really the speed at which Lisa passed really in the last few weeks. She wasn't able to call people, she wasn't able to have final conversations with people. It just really all just happened so quickly in the end. And in order to give people a sense of closure, I filmed the cremation ceremony, and that was myself and a friend of mine, Scott Clancy, had held a camera that we could FaceTime with Naomi, and so the three of us held that ceremony, and I wanted to share it. And then during that process, I thought, well, I used to do a lot of videotaping. When we first got together, I bought a little digital DV camera when they first came out. It was kind of new technology back in 2003, and we met at Naropa University, and after our first year, we decided my sister was having a baby, or having her first child, and so we decided, hey, let's make a motorcycle trip across the country and see them, and then go down to Texas, and then I could meet Naomi and Taylor. And so I bought a motorcycle. I flew out to Oregon, bought a motorcycle, drove it to Colorado. Lisa and I packed up, and then we started our journey. And at that time, then I bought this video recorder, and I was just recording the whole trip along the way. And then didn't really think much about it. I kept using that little camcorder, DV recorder to film all sorts of stuff, like little climbs I would do, or this event and that event. And I only had 5 DV tapes, and so I, at some point, I had taped over our initial motorcycle trip. And we used to sit around. We used to love watching the videos. We'd film some videos and we'd watch them, and it was just something I don't know what we like to do. There was like the beginning phases of selfies, I guess, is what it was back in 2003. We were cutting edge, even though we were kind of Luddites. But at some point I started thinking that there's no way I would have just recorded over there. So after she passed, I was, we got a lot of different computers and technology for 18 years, and I just wanted to get all our pictures and images together. And then I started thinking about these, I started looking at these DV tapes, and I'm like, God, why did I record over that motorcycle trip? It was so much fun. How could I have done that? And then I remembered that I had a hard drive crash when I was at Naropa. Like right after that first year, I had a hard drive crash, lost all my data, and I got it in my head that those videos must have been on that hard drive. That's the only reason. I wouldn't have taped over those videos unless I had them backed up. And so for the first few weeks after she passed, I was like thinking, okay, I bought all this equipment to try to do some data recovery from all the different laptops, but then especially this crashed laptop, and could not get any data off of it. And then I sent it out to a data recovery place, and they couldn't get data off of it. And I was like, okay, well, it just wasn't meant to be then. So then one day I just got present and just made a request that if those files or those videos were recoverable, and they were like on that hard drive, I was thinking that they were on the hard drive, that I'd get some help to do that. And then something happened, and I ended up having to go up into the attic, and or I was working on another project, so I had to go through and get particular sets of papers. And so I was going through, and I was digging through all our old Naropa stuff and going through some box, and I opened this box, and there are all these VHS tapes. And then I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. The only reason I would have taped over them is because I had saved them, and I had saved them off to VHS. But I realized, oh my God, I remember taking this VCR. I had this VCR, and I was like, God, why am I carrying this VCR around? So I sent it to the Goodwill. So now I had these VHS tapes, but I had no way to get the data off. So then I started this process where I was texting everybody and emailing people and saying, hey, anybody got a VCR that's in good shape, and blah, blah, blah. And some people had them, some people had said they were in storage or they didn't have it. And then it turned out our neighbors had one, and they loaned it to me, and I was able to start that process of then taking these videos, VHS tapes, and digitizing them again. And then, during that process, I had to buy a bunch of other equipment in order to make all that happen. So I've been on a bit of a project. So the intention of this website then, initially was just to share the cremation ceremony, but I'd also like to start posting some of these earlier videos of ours together so that people can really get a glimpse into who Lisa was. She was a very private person, very quiet, and when we were together, well, you'll see the videos, but when we were together, we just played a lot, and I wanted people to see other aspects of her that they may not have known. We're all one way at work, and one way with our family, and then another way with our friends and or with our close, intimate partners. And so just to give you a glimpse of that. And I guess the other aspect is that this is just, for me, it's just a part of, I've been finding it very healing for myself in terms of the grieving process, to move through it. So those are the primary reasons. And then there is another thing that I'd want to try to share, which I'm not ready to share yet. And this is also something of intimacy for her, for people to know her. In the last few, in the last month and a half of her life, she started this project where she created this book, and I have it here. So this is almost, in a way, it's a scrapbooking kind of journal of all her most important spiritual teachings that she'd come to at the end of her life. And she started it in January, and she worked on it from January and part of February. And then as it got to March, she said, I'm not going to be able to do March. And really at the time she was just talking about the book. Neither of us really were acknowledging the fact that where this journey was going to end up. I didn't want to acknowledge it. I don't think she did. We all held out hope, or the idea that she could still heal, even though things were not looking good. And so, for me, I've had a really hard time just opening this book or reading from this book. And so one of the things that I would like to be able to do is, in order to be able to share it fully, is every one of these teachings has a little story to it, and I would like to share that with people. But the problem is right now I'm not even really able to open the book without kind of losing it. You'll see in the cremation ceremony that I was able to read one or two pieces out of here, but it was pretty hard. So this next week, when we do her celebration of life ceremony, my intention is to be able to present the book, to speak to the book and read from the book, but I'm not sure how well that's going to go, really. So I think that trying to do that during the celebration, we'll see how it goes. But really, there's a lot to be said about this book. There was a lot of very interesting subconscious foreshadowing that happened, even from the very, very first entry in this book to the cover and to the back of the book, that really said a lot about what she really knew, at least unconsciously, if not consciously, about what March was going to be like and how March was going to end. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for being in her life and for loving Lisa. I know she loved you deeply. You know, she's touched many lives, and you've all touched her life as well. So this is hopefully my small contribution and gift to you in honor of Lisa. Thank you very much, and God bless you.